all started in 2008 when we ended up I lost my job in 2008 due to recession aspects, similar to, pretty much everybody else in the United States. And we ended up on the unemployment line and with almost no prospects. My best friend at the time came over to the house one day and asked me, did I have any money? And I was like, yeah, I have a little bit, thinking that he would want to borrow some. And he says, okay, grab it and let's go. Didn't know exactly where. So he drove us out to Livermore. Didn't know why. And showed up at a storage facility. And he said, we're going to go and take a look at some storage units. And we buy them in an auction setting. And we've done garage sales and things like that and bought some products because, again, we were out of work, so we're trying to make ends meet. I said, okay, all right, that doesn't sound too hard. Ended up buying the first locker that we saw, and kind of got the bug. It was actually kind of fun. And we made quite a lot of money on that locker. So we continued to buy lockers after that, and it just became overwhelming to the point where we needed to actually sell that product faster. So we ended up opening our first store location in Concord in 2010. In the early days of Pot of Gold, we were a thrift store that had some toys and had some collectibles, but we had furniture and DVDs and household goods and things like that. But when we got that particular locker, it just changed everything. We became more on the toy side and less on those types of products. And over time, now customers were coming to me and selling me their toy collections. And it just phased out of the thrift store aspects and became more in the toys aspect. It turned us from a thrift store to a toy store overnight. The kids in our neighborhood figured that out pretty quick. And in most cases, we would give them a few toys, things like that, especially the neighborhood kids. But they really loved it. But yeah, it felt really good. Every child deserves the toy, so we try and make sure that everybody has one. In the early days, we didn't have a lot of money. Most of the money that we were making on the sale of the products was to keep the household still there. Paying our rent, keeping our lights on, putting food on the table, and having enough profit left over to be able to buy the next locker to keep that momentum going. So we started off small in a warehouse district. It was a little bit more cost effective, but it was the smartest move. But there's been many challenges over the last 16 years. Some of them being, payroll or other locations. The reason why we closed my Martinez store was the home that we were living in, the owner sold it out from underneath us. And we didn't really have a place to live. And can't exactly live in the store, so my only option was to move. So we left, and it wasn't that good of a move, so we ended up moving back and decided that opening the store again was the smartest financial move possible. And so that's what we did. We still had plenty of product left over, and then in the new location, we had a little bit more money, and I got some financial backing from some liquidation of some credit cards, things like that. So that helped fuel the new store location in Concord. And then everybody knows 2020, COVID hit. Everybody shut down. It was pretty dark. But we had built a good clientele. We had built a good reputation. So we decided to do something utterly stupid, which is close that store and expand. So I liquidated my entire personal savings. I joined forces with my other friend, David, who became now a partner. And we built this location in Pleasant Hill. So now we're now almost 3,600 square feet of pure toys. We operate 6 days a week, and we just get to play with toys and watch cartoons all day long. Everything tries to come into the store. To me, it doesn't really matter whether it be vintage or modern. It's a toy. I've had toys in my stores dating back to the 1800s. I currently have toys in this building dating back to 1947. Toys are generational. Surprisingly enough, a lot of people don't understand that, but they are. When a toy comes in that's all beat up, you can just imagine the stories and the fun that child had when playing with that toy. I don't mind seeing it all beat up and broken, busted arms or legs. Action figures like G.I. Joes or He-Mans falling apart. Barbie dolls with their cut hair and no clothes. They had fun with those toys. My job is to hopefully fix them and get it back into another child's hands to do that same thing. And nowadays, these toys don't last, compared to the toys from the 50s, 60s, 70s, and even early 80s. The toys made nowadays just don't have the ability to give you that connection. 20 or 30 years from now, when the kids nowadays grow up, they're not going to have a nostalgic aspect to a toy. They're going to have the nostalgic aspect to the dollar. Every person, whether it be a boy or a girl, has some type of connection to a toy that they grew up with. My job is to get them to reconnect with the way that they felt when they were 3 years old, 5 years old, 8, or even 10. Playing with toys gives you a completely different sense of awareness, an ability to use your imagination to excite the next generation, your kids, into play. Unfortunately, there's just, most people have very busy lives and play doesn't really come into effect. And if you took even 10 or 15 minutes to play, you'll actually find that your life tends to be a little bit more enjoyable. But it's not the financial aspect of it. It's the playability of it. Do you want to open up that $500 toy that you just bought? Great. It's a toy. Do with it as you please. If you want to collect it and put it on a shelf and stare at it all day, that's okay too. There's no wrong answer. There's no wrong way to either collect it or to play with it. It's yours. You're buying it because you enjoy it. And that's what people forget in the world, whether it be these Pokemon people or the current craze right now is the Labubu. They collect it just to sell it. Why? Where's the fun? Where's the play? Give them a toy. Let them play. That's the whole reason why I do this.